There are numerous unique planets in the universe. Each planet in the solar system has a unique history, but Jupiter stands out because it was the first planet to form when the solar system was first starting to take shape. You should also be aware that the world is only 4.5 billion years old, while it has a 5 billion year age. Jupiter was thus 500 million years old when the name of the Earth was just taking shape. Jupiter was a god king who appeared in Roman mythology, and because it is the largest planet, they gave it that name. If you guys don't already know the planets, start with the Sun, then move on to Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So, Jupiter is pursuing Mars. In light of this, it ought to be very close to us, but instead, it is 588 million kilometers away, and that represents the closest distance. Its maximum distance, however, is 968 million kilometers. Let's examine this hideous planet in further detail. If you measure Jupiter's diameter, 11 Earths could fit inside, but if you measure Jupiter's volume, 1,300 Earths could fit within. Additionally, the mass is 318 times that of Earth. A crazy number is 318, and the maximum mass of all the planets in the solar system, excluding Jupiter, is 129 times that of the Earth. We are thus gradually discovering how enormous this planet is in comparison to the solar system's first 4 planets in this instance, and that also applies to the Earth. All of them are composed of rock and have a surface, so you could essentially step on them. Although Mercury has a solid surface and is extremely hot, Jupiter has no surface, as I am sure you can imagine, and a small core holds all of these gases together as they form, with 75% hydrogen, 24% helium, and 1% other gases. Ammonia, methane, and oxygen make up the remaining gases. We essentially observe the atmosphere when we gaze at Jupiter. We essentially have no view of the interior of the planet. The atmosphere is 70 kilometers thick, so that explains it. And if you look at this atmosphere, it resembles an ocean of moving gas that emits a variety of hues, including white, yellow, orange, and red. And the various gases are what cause the colors. But this tiny area is the most well-known feature of Jupiter. Despite not actually being a spot, it is known as the Great Red Spot. This hurricane first materialized 300 years ago. On Earth, storms last for around 2 weeks, but on Jupiter, this storm began 300 years ago and is still going strong. It isn't looking to slow down either, given how quickly this hurricane is moving. Its speed of 640 kilometers per hour makes it 2.5 times as rapid as the storm that is now on Earth. Gravity of Jupiter, strong enough over time to attract 79 moons to it, meaning that of the 79 moons of Jupiter, 4 stand out. Anything large that passed by Jupiter carried it in its orbit between them. Goid is the largest. Additionally, this moon is the largest in the entire solar system. Moreover, it is 26% larger than Mercury. Callisto is the next moon. Mercury and Callisto are roughly the same size, but Callisto is 1% smaller. Io is the next moon. These moon patches are visible. All of these locations are volcanoes, and Io is the solar system's most volcanically active region. There are 400 volcanoes on this sphere, and they are all active and have no intention of ceasing their activity. Europa is the lone large moon. The moon Europa is covered in ice, but astronomers think that behind the ice there is water, and that water may contain life. Europa merits its own video because it has a lot of interesting material. Okay, let's continue. Return to Jupiter now. Jupiter may be compared to a shield. Its gravitational field is so powerful that it attracts several asteroids from the solar system. Additionally, Jupiter is frequently impacted by meteors, and these meteors that hit Jupiter have a life of their own and continue to accumulate bulk to this enormous planet. This planet's size and age are due in part to the fact that it is so old, and that's essentially the reason it was so large before the Earth began. Jupiter had already started its transformation into a massive shield for the solar system. Jupiter-like planets are extremely uncommon across the cosmos. Additionally, planets of this size and mass are relatively uncommon. However, it is possible to find HTP 67b, another gas planet, and according to scientists, this is the biggest planet we've ever discovered. The mass of this planet is only half that of Jupiter, Despite its size being 2 times that of Jupiter, it is not as large while being twice as large. HTTP 67b, which is 1,043 light-years away, was discovered in 2017. Let's return to our own enormous orbit around the Sun, which lasts for around 12 years. You should also be aware that one day on Jupiter is 9 hours and 56 minutes, which is absurd for a planet of this size. A year on Jupiter is equivalent to 12 years on Earth. Jupiter is rotating at a rate of 43,000 kilometers per hour. Scientists want to use this energy because of the bulk and spinning speed, and you may argue that they had already used this energy. If you haven't heard about Voyager 1, you should know that Jupiter is the reason for the spacecraft's high speed, and they captured all this speed by using Jupiter as a slingshot, but that was 40 years ago. Let's wait and see what the scientists discover next.